It started at 3:33 a.m. I woke to chanting, low, rhythmic, and absolutely not natural. It was coming through the wall from my neighbor Marla's place. Zulmarash, Antara, Zulmarash. It sounded layered, not one voice, many, all saying the same thing in perfect unison. A recording, maybe? No, too real. I could hear breathing between phrases. Marla lives alone. She's quiet, older, maybe late 60s. I've barely spoken to her in the 6 months I've lived here. Just waves across the driveway. Nothing weird until now. I banged on the wall, louder chanting, like it was answering me. I crossed the driveway barefoot. Her porch light was off, but her front door wide open. I called out, "Marla?" Nothing. Just that same wet, guttural chant, louder now, pulsing through the floor. I stepped in. Her furniture was gone. Every wall was smeared with symbols, circles, slashes, hooked shapes I couldn't place. Some carved, some painted in a black tar-like ooze that smelled like rotting meat and copper. In the back room, I found her, Marla, kneeling naked on a salt circle. Her mouth moved in sync with something behind her, a shadow that didn't match her shape. It had horns, long fingers. Its mouth moved with hers, word for word. I backed out, didn't breathe until I was back inside my place with every light on. But the chanting followed me. It didn't stay in her house. The chanting hasn't stopped. 3 days now. Morning, noon, middle of the goddamn night. Non-stop. I called the cops again. We knocked. Nobody answered, they said. Try filing a noise complaint. They didn't go inside, because if they had, they wouldn't have come out. I haven't seen Marla since the first night, but I still hear her. Every minute of every day. Zulmarosh, Antara, Zulmarosh. I hear it in everything. The hum of the fridge, the whine of the plumbing. Even the silence between my breaths feels off, like there's something folded inside it, whispering under the quiet. I went back once. I don't know why. Curiosity? Guilt? Like I needed proof I wasn't losing my mind? Same open door. Same smell. Sweet rot, like spoiled meat left out in the sun. I brought my phone, tried to record it. On playback? Nothing. No sound at all. Just me standing in that hell house, frozen. Back home, I burned sage, poured salt at every doorway, covered my mirrors. Didn't matter. That night, I woke up mouthing the words. I had bitten into my tongue in my sleep. Blood pooled on the pillow. I couldn't stop chanting for over an hour. The next day, I saw Sarah, my neighbor 2 doors down, standing barefoot in the middle of the road, staring at Marla's house like it was calling her. Her lips moved. I shouted her name. She didn't flinch, just turned slowly and walked back to her house like a wind-up doll. The chanting is spreading. It's not a sound anymore. It's a signal. It infects you, latches on. I hear it even with headphones blasting. It's under everything. And today, for the first time, I felt something behind me. Not saw, felt. Breathing. Hot. Slow. Inches from my neck. I turned around fast. No one was there. But in the mirror, I swear to God, my reflection didn't stop mouthing the words when I did. On the 5th night, the chanting stopped. It didn't trail off or fade out. It was just gone, in an instant, like someone pulled the plug on reality itself. At first, I stood still in the middle of the hallway, halfway between my kitchen and the stairs, not sure what had changed, just sensing that something had. Then I noticed it, the absence. No voices, no vibrations, no anything. Not even the buzz of the fridge, not the hum of the heater.
just this unnatural, smothering stillness. I waited 10 seconds, then 20, and that's when the fear set in. Not relief, fear, because I realized the chanting had become a constant. A terrible one, yes, but familiar, predictable. It filled every space, every moment. And now that it was gone, I could feel what had been beneath it all along. Something was watching me. I took one step backward, slow, measured, like I might wake something up if I moved too quickly. My foot touched the first stair. Then, above me, came a noise. A floorboard shifted, wood bent under pressure. A single, deliberate footstep. I live alone. I didn't move. I just stood there, eyes fixed on the top of the stairwell, waiting to see something I couldn't possibly understand. A second step followed, slower than the first, and uneven. It sounded like someone dragging one leg behind them. The boards groaned like they were about to splinter. I gripped the handrail and stared upward. The light from the hallway didn't quite reach the top.
And then something shifted in the dark, just enough to make out a shape. It was tall, wrongly tall. The proportions were off. I couldn't see a face, but the way it leaned forward, slightly hunched, made me feel like it was grinning at me. A wave of pressure rolled through the house, like the air had turned solid for a second, then snapped back into place. I stumbled backward into the kitchen and dropped to my knees. The silence held for another minute. I could hear my own heart pounding. The skin on my arms was crawling. I had the sense that if I stayed there any longer, I'd start screaming and wouldn't be able to stop. Then, without warning, the chanting returned. But now, it was inside me. I felt it buzzing in my teeth, curling behind my ribs. My mouth was already moving. The words flowed without resistance, like I had practiced them 1,000 times. I ran to the sink and vomited. What came out was thick and black, something between tar and oil, flecked with strands of hair. I caught my reflection in the microwave door. I was smiling. I don't remember picking it up, but I had a small leather-bound journal clutched in one hand. I didn't recognize it until I opened it. Every page was filled with a single sentence, scrawled over and over again in handwriting I couldn't deny was my own. The only thing worse than the chanting is the silence when it stops. My hands were shaking, not out of fear, out of something worse. Recognition. I wrote those words. I meant them. I don't remember when or how or why, but I know I wrote them from experience. Because whatever was upstairs, it came out when the chanting stopped. And now, it doesn't need silence to find me. It's already inside. I don't know what day it is anymore. Time's fractured. I blink and hours are gone. The sun comes up and I'm in the basement, standing in salt circles I don't remember drawing. My mouth always tastes like ash and iron. Sometimes I wake up mid-sentence, still chanting. I haven't left the house in days? Weeks? The windows are all black now. Not covered, black, like they've stopped showing the outside. When I press my face to the glass, I don't see my street. I see shapes, tall ones, moving in what looks like fog, or maybe smoke, or maybe just something the world was never meant to hold. My mirrors are worse. I've covered them all. Doesn't matter. The reflections come through anyway. In my peripheral vision, in puddles, even in the curve of a doorknob, they're watching me. One night, I caught my reflection staring straight at me while I was brushing my teeth. Only I wasn't looking at the mirror. I froze, toothbrush halfway up. The reflection kept brushing. Then it smiled. A slow, satisfied grin, like it had just won something.
I smashed the mirror, but the image didn't break. It walked away. My body isn't mine anymore. Sometimes my hands move without asking. My legs walk me toward the closet at 3 a.m. My head turns toward sounds I never hear. My voice mutters in languages I don't understand, but my mouth knows them. It speaks them like they're native. I found symbols carved into my chest, not deep, but precise. Not random. Each one matched the ones in Marla's house. One night, I woke up on my knees in front of my own bathroom mirror, blood dripping down my chin, chanting while holding a needle and a spool of black thread. I had been sewing my lips closed in a dream. I stopped myself just before the last stitch. I don't think it was to stop the chanting. I think it was to keep something else in. The journal's been filling itself. Pages I haven't touched now contain diagrams, rituals, maps of the house, but not as it is, as it's becoming. Walls in places I don't remember building, rooms that don't exist except when I dream about them. Every night, the same voice whispers from the floorboards, "You've been chosen.
You're the gate." And last night, I saw Marla again, in my kitchen. She looked normal at first, just older, quiet. She didn't speak, just stood there with her head tilted slightly to the side, like listening for something I couldn't hear. Then she opened her mouth, and it wasn't a voice that came out. It was hundreds, all layered over each other, every word overlapping, every accent, every pitch, 1,000 versions of the same chant erupting from a single mouth. I dropped to my knees instantly, not from fear, not from pain, from obedience. I didn't want to, but I did. My body did, my blood did. And then I joined her. The words came out smooth, perfect, no hesitation. I didn't even have to think, because I wasn't learning the chant. I was remembering it. I've chanted before. Maybe not in this life, maybe not in this body, but it's inside me. It's always been inside me. And now, I don't think I'm chanting to keep something out. I think I'm helping let it through. They found my house empty, lights still on, door wide open, blood on the floor in the shape of a spiral. My phone lying next to the stove, recording a 2-hour video of nothing but static and a low, pulsing hum. I watched the footage once. In the last minute, I walked into frame, but I didn't blink, didn't breathe, didn't move like a person. I just smiled, turned to the camera, and whispered something in a language that shouldn't exist. They never found me. The neighbors don't talk anymore. Most of them are gone. The ones still here, they stare, a little too long. Their mouths sometimes move even when they're not speaking. Marla's house? Still empty. But the chanting, it's coming from somewhere else now. Yesterday, it was the house on the corner. Today, I heard it from across the street. Tomorrow? Doesn't matter. It spreads like rot in a closed room. It doesn't haunt people. It recruits them. You don't hear the chanting because you're cursed. You hear it because you're chosen. The sound is the signal. The signal is the seed, and the seed wants to grow. So if you hear it, if you're hearing it now, don't block it out. Don't fight it, because you'll find out the same thing I did. The only thing worse than the chanting is the silence when it stops. And now, it's your turn to listen.
The fire's dying down, but some echoes never fade, do they? If the chanting followed you home tonight, would you want it to stop? Or would the silence scare you more? Come back by the fire soon. There are always more tales waiting for you here.